Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Pitch International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 12th of April, 2023. Still, welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, just a few technicals here and there, as we always do in these webinars, just to see how can we maybe position ourselves for the day, maybe for the remaining of the week. But as always, before we jump into the charts, just a quick we need to quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll disappear here for a little bit. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, here I'm back now. Look, so also before we jump into the charts, just a quick kind of mentioning as well of our Easy Markets website, which you can check out for more information about us. Check out our conditions here. I mean, you can find them, some of them useful. Look, you can always get in touch with us if you have more questions about this. We're happy to help. So you can reach out to me, to anybody else in the customer support, if you have any questions around this. So guys, check us out. Now, the charts, the charts, the Nikkei 225, the first one, as always. Look, the technical picture here looks as follows, I think, just a second, before I jump in further, can you turn my mic volume up a little? Thank you. Look, I think that the video, I mean, I've checked the video quality before and it was kind of fine, so it's maybe not really the video, I mean, not the microphone. The microphone is working fine. So Noble Amir Ali, I've checked, like I said, checked the previous recordings as well. I mean, the mic seems to be working okay. So maybe again, maybe your speakers, I don't know, but know how you're looking at, I mean, how you're listening and watching this video. But so far, look, in general, my mic is working fine. So, sorry if you're experiencing some sort of technical issues or something like that. Look, I don't know if everybody else who's joining in right now can hear me okay. If you can hear me okay, then yeah, that's great. We can continue. Look, Nikkei 225. So, what I talked about this before, and what I said here previously, that look, if we do pop back above this 23.6 in the short run, if we do pop back above the 23.6 retracement here, then yes, we could go back to this downside line taken from the high of the 8th of March. So for now, I mean, everything's on track, everything's looking quite fine. Again, we'll see how today's day gonna go on further, but here, what I'm looking at here are the futures. So in a way, maybe we could see a further push here on the Nikkei's futures to the upside, test the downside line, and then maybe we'll get a little drift back down. But again, depending on, a lot will depend today on the data. We do have the big data. Sorry, Noble Amir, all good now, watching it through TradeView. Thanks again for look, I honestly, if there is something like, tell me, yes, I mean, I'll try to see if I can fix it, or if I cannot fix it, but yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for joining in. Look, coming back to Nikkei 225. So as I said before, At the moment, for now, everything's working out according to the TA rules. So look, I mean, I talked about this previously, and I said that if we pop back above the 23.6, then yes, this could open the door back to the downside line. I'm not targeting the 28,393, although I would like to, but initially I'm just going to aim for this downside line, and then I'll take it from there. Look, today's day, yeah, we do have the CPIs, the US CPIs coming out. We have the BoC interest rate decision. So yeah, could be quite an eventful day. So check out the economic calendars, guys, yourselves, and you know what time it comes out your time, wherever you are. But yeah, let's see how that's going to play out, but I'll get to the US indices in a bit. Look, with Nikkei, that's the simple game plan here. There's not much to talk about. I'm still aiming, like I said, for this downside line, and then I'll take it from there. Now, in terms of the downside scenario, look, another thing that I want to do here, first of all, is probably get rid of the Fibonacci's. Yeah, I have this 23.6, but I think it's time to get rid of it. I think that mainly let's focus on some of the levels, and I think a few adjustments have to be made here. For example, this one right here has to be marked. I believe that this could be quite a better level to watch. The 27,930. So we're continuing to trade above it. As long as we trade above it, then yes, I'll continue targeting this downside line. Now, if we start falling back below this, back below the 27,930 territory, well, this is where we could consider maybe a bit of a retracement here towards the upside line, and then we could take it from there. Of course, before this upside line, I will be aiming for this 50-day EMA, shown as the red line, and then we will take it from there, guys. So yeah, basically, in other words, we are currently, seems to be like we're coiling up. So if we are, then certainly you need to wait for clearance of, you know, one of the sides of the formation, and then yes, we could, you know, consider the next short-term directional move. But again, for now, long story short, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside. However, I'm not, because of the day today, I'm not really you know, kind of ruling out the downside scenario here as well. FTSE China 50 index. So yes, I talked about this last week, this week, and look, I said keep your eyes on that 13,096 territory. Yesterday, I mentioned this as well. I said that if we do drop below this, then yes, this may it may attract a few more sellers into the game, and we could see maybe a drift towards the 12,821. Look, for now, from the technical perspective, everything seems to be working out nicely. I am still leaning towards the downside. I'm going to be aiming for this 12,821 as long as we stay below this 13,096, because what I don't want to see here is something like a false breakout, and basically then we will drift back up, and then we're ending up in the range again. So, and we're starting to oscillate around those EMAs of mine here on my daily chart. But okay, we have to go from what we have. And at this point, yes, I'm leaning towards the downside as long as it stays below this 13,096 territory. For the upside, I need to see a push above the 13,420, somewhere around there, around here. At the same time, we would be above the 200-day EMA, and not to mention all of the EMAs, and also we would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. ASX 200. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention that I do have quite a big of a list that I want to go through, so apologies for maybe me rushing through this a little bit. But a lot of things that I already talked about. I mean, I talked about this before in my previous videos. So if I see that there is a point maybe to hold on some one instrument, then yes, I will do that. But in general, look, if I covered it already previously, then I'm just kind of repeating myself, and I'm just going to mention the potential breakouts here for me. What I'm looking at, again, maybe you're looking at something else, maybe you have a different scenario, and in general, guys, these videos are not meant to, you know, to kind of give you like, you know, oh, you know, you need to go long or short from here or there. No, it's just, I'm trying to explain this from the technical perspective, applying a bit of fundamental into it. So because I'm mainly a technician. Well, technician, the word technical analyst. There we go. So I do look at historic patterns in general. So that, and I kind of I'm on that side a little bit. But anyway, guys, look, ASX 200, everything's working out. And look, I mean, I talked about this previously, and I talked about this yesterday. I said that if we do pop above the 7,293 territory, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, potentially attracting more buyers and leading the index towards the 7,331. We reached that, and I said that ideally I would like to see maybe a test of the 7,395 area, which we kind of did. So again, I'll repeat the same thing that I keep on saying all the time, that it's never the exact level, it's always the area around that level. So it's kind of, let's say if in this scenario, for example, if you went from here and you were aiming for this level here, you're actually aiming for the area. So if it stops somewhere like just a few points before that, honestly, take it. Congratulations, good job, well done. You can now chill. But now look, at this point, what can we do next? Well, to be honest, this arrow will travel like this. Ideally, I would like to see a push, towards this barrier here, the highest point of February, or the current highest point of this year. But again, given the fact that we had quite a decent up move already, maybe just a bit of a correction here at some point would be useful. Not that I would like to see it, but useful. So anyway, look, in general, the way I'm going to approach this, and I do pardon me for all the arrows here and lines, I'm kind of reusing those. A few lines here have to be adjusted, like for example this right here. Now there's a bunch of upside lines which could be interesting, but of course, yes, for now I'm just gonna stick to a few. Again, all of them are very kind of tentative, don't get me wrong. So that's why for now, looking at this picture here, this has to go. So for now, yes, if we do fall back below the 7,331 right there, the highlighted zone, which I talked about previously, that's going to be quite interesting. And this is where we could see maybe a bit of a retracement here. However, I will get a little bit more excited with the short-term declines here if we do fall below this upside line, the steep upside support line taken from the low of the 25th of March, and also maybe a drop back below the 7,293. Previously, it acted as a good area of resistance. Now it could take the role of support. If it breaks, this could open the door towards some lower levels, guys, here. So something like this could be possible. I will aim initially for the 50 and the 100-day EMAs, and then I'll take it from there. Nifty 50, there we go. So yes, look, I talked a lot about this as well. I'm just going to quickly recap what I said previously. I said that if we break the downside line, then yes, I'll get a little bit more excited with the upside, especially if we push above all the EMAs here on my daily chart. Tick, tick. And I said then that my next target is this highlighted zone roughly between the 17,814 and the 17,867 levels, approximately around here. So currently it seems like we're getting a little hold up here, so that's fine. The question is, can this continue to remain a good area of resistance? Well, time will tell, of course. And of course, I think that the markets will not do much, or maybe we'll continue bouncing around somewhere around here until we get some sort of like news from the US, and yeah, then maybe there will be a bit of a reaction. However, don't get me wrong, in Nifty 50 I don't think that there will be like a huge kind of correlation, but in general, maybe the fact that the news is so like talked about and hyped about, and and maybe it could have its little short-term negative effect, but then of course the index would adjust according to its market, and then yeah, it would go further. But at this point, look, from the technical perspective, if we push through this highlighted zone and stay above it, I'll lean a little bit more towards the upside. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So yesterday, what happened here? Okay, yesterday, Dow was the only index that managed to stay in positive territory, just by a little bit, not much. I mean, Nasdaq ended up in negative. S&P kind of was unchanged, to be honest. So everything's, I think, that just everybody's just waiting for the data to come out, and and then not really doing much. So look, the only one thing that I will try to do here is maybe apply some reasoning from the technical perspective. Now, first of all, this hurdle here, the 33,591. Previously, I talked about it. It acted as a good area of support, well, initially resistance and support. It rebounded from it and pushed higher. As I said, that as long as we stay above this hurdle, I will continue aiming to the upside. Now, if we do fall below the 33,442 territory, somewhere around here, that's where I'm gonna, consider a bit of a retracement here towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 15th of March. Now, again, this upside line is a bit of on the tentative side, but I think that by the time, let's say if it would travel lower here, maybe the 200-day EMA could approach this, upside line. Maybe they could coincide nicely, and yeah, could present itself with a nice support zone. But look, in general, for now, I'm leaning a little bit maybe towards the upside. However, I'm watching this little barrier here, the 33,878, which is currently, as you can see, doing a good job in providing resistance. Now, can it continue to do so? Again, we'll wait and see, but the arrow, I think, has to go this way. Look, if we clear this, then yes, I'll push further north. My next target, of course, is that 34,000 mark, which is not far, to be honest. And then slowly, I will start aiming for this territory around that 34,500 level, approximately around here. So this is quite a strong area of resistance. Not saying that this could be tested straight away. No, it might take a while. Maybe a bit of a retracement here. We could see, just bouncing around here a little bit. And in general, what I wouldn't like to see here happening, and again, but this is the market, it doesn't always do what I want it to do. So what I don't want to see here is something like this. So basically, let's say today we continue to trade somewhere around here near this, this barrier, but then the news comes out, higher inflation. And by the way, look, the current expectation is for the headline year-on-year CPI number to drop from 6 to 5.2, and but the core year-on-year, this is the problem. So the core is expected actually to rise from 5.5 to 5.6. Now, again, I will remind you, the core measures, the services, the services, and with excluding the food and energy prices. So, look, energy, we've seen, yes, it went down, it declined, then kind of, oil did bounce back up, but a little bit, but not, still okay. But the fact that the core is kind of showing, showing like higher tendency to come out higher, well, that kind of, makes us a little bit cautious. And of course, it's all, shown here in the Fed Watch tool, because basically it's showing us that now we're at 71.8% on the potential increase by 25 basis points in the May meeting. So, okay, I mean, look, I talked about this previously as well. I said that, I think that the bank will stick to the path of 25, increasing it by 25. Although we are seeing a bit of a tendency already, like, among some banks to not to go for any increases and just kind of, keep it, see how it goes. But let's say, we know that last week, or Australian bank, central bank came out with no increase, and then the next day we saw New Zealand central bank coming out with a 50 basis point increase, unlike the 25 expected. I mean, initially it was expected 25 basis points, but they decided, hey, let's go for 50. Canada today, BoC, the Bank of Canada, is planning to halt any further increases for now. The current expectation is for 4.5%, the same as previous. Will that be the case? We'll have to wait and see, guys, because again, the inflation is not really slowing. Okay, it's slowing down a little bit. It has declined a little bit, but still it's nowhere near the target. And I have to remind everybody as well that again that the target of most central banks, the ECB, the Fed, the BoC, they're all aiming for 2%, and we're nowhere there. Like, we're about like 2.5 3 times more than that right now. So that's why, although maybe the global economy is seen slowing down a little, as the IMF today, I think today or yesterday, came out saying that the IMF, expects the global growth for 2023 to be to go down from 2.8 to 2.9, and then also in 2024 from 3.1 to 3%. That's still okay. That's still fine. It's not really something drastic or radical, and that's why, yes, inflation is still high, and that's why the banks could continue, especially the Fed could continue with its policy of increasing rates. But again, we'll see how, of course, how the inflation numbers come out. Then we still have the whole April to go through before the interest rate decision. So that's why we will have to be a little bit more cautious. Just keep an eye on it. Just see how we play out. But again, at this point, yeah. Look, for now, what I'm looking at here is I'm just gonna go from the simplistic approach of technical analysis on some of the instruments. Of course, keeping everything all that in the back of my head, but just let's say for the Dow. If we do push and stay above this 33,878, yes, I'll continue going higher. I'll aim higher, and then we'll take it from there. For the downside, I need to see a drop below that 33,442 territory, and then I'll consider a larger correction to the downside. All this zone here is neutral for me because, again, if we end up being in here somewhere, that's just a range. That's just a range, which I don't like. And I mean, if you're a range trader, congratulations, guys. You're doing better than me in that case. Nasdaq 100. So yeah, yesterday the big loser, Nasdaq 100, and yes, we declined. Look, I talked about this yesterday. About this index, and said keep your eyes on this downside line, which so far is doing a good job. So great. If I want to go higher, I need to see a break of this downside line and a push above the 13,220 territory, which I previously looked at as a good area of resistance. Then support, and now, yes, I mean, let's see if it's going to play the role of resistance once again. For the downside, a pretty straightforward approach here. A drop below the 12,950 territory, somewhere around here, could do the trick for a few more sellers, and they could drive the index towards the 50-day EMA. The German index, DAX. DAX is okay. Look, I think a few adjustments have to be made here. Yesterday I talked about that 15,815. We were above it. I said if we continue to trade above this, then yes, this could attract a few more buyers. But look, this is where we have to adjust again, because this level is good. Don't get me wrong. This 15,815 is good, but we're oscillating around it, and that's not really helpful for me here. So that's why I will probably take a bit of a careful approach here, and I'll keep an eye on that 15,891. If we clear that one, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. I am targeting my 16,000 mark initially, and then maybe this other ideal targets near the 16,274, 294, approximately around here, guys. For the downside, look, I think that it's time to lift the arrow a little bit. I think that I'm gonna stick to the 15,627, something like that, approximately around here, marked by the low of the 5th of April. Or actually, in other words, the current lowest point of April. If we do clear that one, then yes, I'll go towards that 15,500 and then towards the 50-day EMA. Simple as that. So this is my scenario for the downside from around here, from around that 15,627 zone. Yeah, look, dollar index looking good. Got a nice, still having this nice hold up near this downside line taken from the high of the 24th of March. But look, what I said previously, that if we push above the 101.72, I will aim higher. I'll aim for this downside line. In a way, we kind of reached my target, so now we can get rid of this arrow here. We declined back down. This is interesting, but of course, the upside scenario is not off the table yet. So basically, if you are looking for some higher levels, I think at this point, yes, of course, continue monitoring that 101.72 territory, but ideally, I think the better option is to stick to a break of this downside line. If we do get that, this may attract a few more buyers into the game. For the downside, I need to see a drop somewhere below this 101.55 territory right here, and then we could take it from there. Now, look, if we clear this hurdle, yes, certainly we could go further south, but at this point, yeah, I'm just watching the activity, and again, don't rush into anything, guys, because we have a special day today. So, we have the USC CPIs, so those might stir up the cocktail a little bit here. Gold. Yeah, gold. Beautiful move, honestly. This is quite interesting. Look, I talked about this yesterday as well. I said, and the day on Monday as well. I said, look, if we stay above this 1990 level, if we continue to trade above it, I will remain a little bit more positive. And if we do drop and stay below this 1990, I'll take a bit of a bearish approach. Well, everything's working out according to the plan. So right now, basically, I can see that we have pushed above my target, this 2003 zone. I talked about it and said that if we climb above it, I will go further north, and especially also if we take a push above the 2010 zone as well. So we got the clearance of both of these levels. Great. I mean, everything's working out here nicely to the upside. Ideally, what I would like to see here, and again, this is my personal view, but again, don't kind of take me on this, because this is what I like to see, but the market doesn't always do what I like it to do. So unfortunately, we have to go from that, but look, in general, we have a rising channel here. Okay, great. We pushed away from the midpoint of this kind of this rising channel, and we're climbing higher. In general, it seems like that we could see some further action here to the upside, and ideally I would like to see a test of this upper side of the rising channel. Let's see how this is going to play out. Of course, I'm not rushing into anything. What I will do here is I'm going to wait for the data to come out. Honestly, I don't like to risk it this way. I mean, it's like a coin toss. Either I'm going to get it, either not. So I rather see the reaction and then do something about it, guys. And don't try to go for millions. Just go, if you can, make yourself a cup of coffee, then great. That's how I approach the markets. If I, don't go for ridiculous profits, can't get that Lamborghini straight away, but just go slowly, guys, step by step, and you'll see everything will be fine. Just kind of earn yourself for a cup of coffee, and then just kind of or whatever you like to drink. So tea as well. But anyway, look, coming back to this, I will say this way: from the technical perspective, as long as we remain above that 2003 territory, I am leaning towards the upside. I'm going to aim for that upper side of the rising channel, and then I'm going to take it from there. For the downside, in the near term, within the rising channel, I would like to see a drop below that 1990 zone. I do understand that it's not a lot of territory here, but hey, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Silver, very quickly on that one. Good move, honestly. This one is the best one. I think that honestly, it's so technical that it's really, really good. And look, I talked about this, and I said before, if you remember, I said that, hey, a bit of a retracement after we found this resistance near the 25.14 level. I said, hey, keep your eyes on this potential area of support. We might retrace a little bit here. I said then that, hey, this could be seen as a nice possible bullish flag. but a confirmation break through the barrier here, the 25.14 level, is required. This confirmed a forthcoming higher high, and now my next target is the 25.74 territory right here, marked by the inside swing low of the 18th of April of 2022. I'm targeting that area as long as we stay above this 25.14 zone. If we suddenly start falling back below this, I'll take a neutral stand. For me, the downside scenario, well, ideally a break of this upside line. And again, depending on how this is going to shape up, again, I don't know if we're going to start, moving sideways here for a little bit or something like that. And maybe this 24.64 territory could come in nicely together with the upside line. So everything, would be aligned perfectly for the downside. But again, this is just a theory for now. Again, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but at the moment I am leaning towards the upside. It would be, okay, look, my perfect scenario, the perfect short-term scenario would be this. Given that we rebounded nicely here to the upside, we broke this barrier. We could go, I would like to see this one pushing towards the 25.75 territory, maybe getting a hold up back here, drifting back down all the way maybe towards that 24.64 territory, rebounding from this one, pushing back up, testing the 25.14 level, and then basically forming a nice head and shoulders pattern and drifting lower. Okay, this is the perfect scenario in my head. However, will that happen? Probably not. But, look, for now, let's say I'm going here on this one just carefully, cautiously, and I'm just aiming for this 25.74 territory, and then we'll take it from there. Oil. WTI oil, there we go. Interesting, something's happening here. Look, can we get that breakout? Well, we'll wait and see for the numbers. Because again, the dollar will have effect. It's not the commodity market that's going to drive it. It's the dollar, the fluctuation in the dollar. Let's see if the dollar suddenly falls off the cliff here, guys. I mean, well, expect oil popping nicely to the upside. We're already above the 200-day EMA, so that's okay, good. So some positivity coming in here. But, excuse me. But as I said before, I'm not going to rush into anything here, and I'm just going to observe my level, my area here, and then I'll take it from there. So if we do push through this highlighted zone and stay above it, yes, I'll go further north. At this point, I'm just observing this one, and again, I'm keeping an element of the doubt to everything, and yeah, I'm not rushing into anything. Ethereum. So yeah, look, beautiful retracement. Okay, okay, beautiful. Look, I talked about this, and I said, hey, in order to go higher, I needed to see, yesterday I mentioned this, in order to go higher, I need to see a push above that 1943 territory. What did we get? We didn't get it. So we get a retracement. That's fine. That's all okay. And of course, this positivity that recently kicked in this week, I mean, okay, great, wonderful. Look, it's all about the expectation, about the inflation, everybody was thinking that, hey, maybe it's going to be, the dollar is going to be negative and all that. Yeah, it might be, but the only thing is don't rush into it, because this is what you get. And people probably right now were frustrated. The ones that saw the positivity in Bitcoin is declining. It's back to 30,000, I think. Yep, I'm not mistaken, but or below that even. But look, here Ethereum, yesterday I've talked about this, and I said keep your eyes on that 1943 territory. If we pop above it, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, potentially attracting more buyers, opening the door towards that psychological 2000 mark, and everybody's happy. No, we didn't get that breakout. Instead, we're getting a little correction. However, not critical yet. We're still resting on this upside line, taken from the low of the 27th of March. However, if we start breaking it and we fall below the 1846 territory, I will aim for this other upside line taken from the low of the 15th of March. Now, both of them are tentative, guys, so in general, I'm kind of ideally would like to see, let's say, if we get a drop below the 1846, I'll aim for the upside line, but if it fails, I'm going to aim for that 50-day EMA. Simple as that. Litecoin, very quickly. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Look, yesterday I warned you about this. I said, yes, we're having a nice violation of the upper side of the this range. But I said keep your eyes on and see where we're going to end up by the end of the day. And we drifted back inside of it, and basically we're still confirming that range, and we cannot leave it. It seems like a good range to keep an eye on. So yeah, if we would see this one staying, if the body of the daily candle would stay above this barrier, great, good. We could go further north, guys, and this alongside this arrow. But no, we drifted back to the downside, and we're back to square one. We're back into this range, so observing the price action. I'm not really touching this one. I like it. It's interesting, but I'm not rushing into this because again, it's back into the range, and I want to be a little bit more cautious with this, because if suddenly this starts dropping below the lower side of this range, then well, there we go. We could see a bit of a decline, and maybe this could open an opportunity for some buyers to step in somewhere later at a later stage. Dogecoin, Dogecoin. Look, so far, everything is according to the textbooks, the TA textbooks. Yes, everything's fine. We drifted back down. I talked about this, and I said that hey, we're gonna keep an eye on this upside line taken from below the 10th of March. Okay, everything is kind of looking quite good. We're resting on the EMAs as well. Perfect. Everything's looking nice. But look, can we rebound from this territory? That's a good question. Ideally, in a way, I should say this way, that as long as the trend line remains intact, it could still indicate the trend, the direction. It could indicate the direction of the trend line. So in this situation is the upside, but the way it's shaping up here, the way it's flirting with the EMAs, the way it's flirting with this upside line actually puts me in a little bit of a pickle. If we do fall below the 0.08 territory right here, that's where I'm going to start leaning a little bit more towards the downside, especially if the body of the daily candle stays below this upside line. If we stay below it, I'm leaning to a little bit more to the downside, and I'm going to be waiting for the next Elon Musk news about Dogecoin. And then, yeah, this is how you trade Dogecoin in a way. You buy it, you wait for 500 years, and then you wait for that tweet or something like that, and then it goes up. So yeah. Anyway, jumping into the Forex, guys. Forex world. Look at this beautiful thing. AUDUSD. Look, I talked about this yesterday, and we tested the lower side of the rising channel here from we tested it from underneath. Yeah, look, it's seems to be kind of a little bit more bearish than bullish, to be honest, but I like to see it push below the 0.6625 territory right here, and then we could take maybe our route, our aim at the 0.6564 marked by the lowest point of March or the current lowest point of this year. If that gets cleared, guys, guess what? This will confirm a forthcoming lower low and could potentially attract more sellers into the game. But again, we cannot really rush into anything here. It's a bit of a coin toss day today, so just don't rush into anything. Wait for the news to come out, and then we can position ourselves correctly. But at this point, I like the scenario to the downside, but it a little bit contradicts everything what I was talking about right now above, because for example, if DXY, let's say, suddenly falls off the cliff here and moves lower, then we could expect AUDUSD popping back up inside this rising channel. And this is what I said to you before, that if we do move back inside the rising channel, I am gonna start considering the upside again. Of course, I do understand we have these the 50, the 100, the 200 EMA, which could provide a bit of resistance, but again, it's still possible to overcome those. But so yeah, just keep an eye on that, guys. AUDJPY also, so far, look, everything's according to TA rules. I talked about this, and I said to you, look, it seems to be we're forming nice higher lows here. Okay, great. Yes. The question now is, can we break the downside line? And I said to you that, look, if we push back above the 88.55 territory, I'll aim for this downside line together with the 50 EMA. Mission accomplished. Because it kind of reached the area. That's what I said before. Always aim for the area around it. not exactly. Yeah, if it goes further towards the area, but actually you've exited earlier, that's also fine, guys. You're doing good. If you come out with a profit, any profit, even 1 cent, you know, if you come out from the market with a profit, congratulations, you're doing good. So what's next on AUDJPY? Yes, I'm going to take a very short-term approach here. And look, if we break the downside line and we push above the 50-day EMA, my next target is the 90.23, and then I'll take it from there. For the downside, now this arrow has to be adjusted. Look, I think that this highlighted zone has to be adjusted as well. A few levels have to be removed, maybe, but look, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take it this way. I'm gonna draw an upside line, and if we break that, I will lean a little bit more towards the downside. We do have these obstacles here lower. This level can now mark the low, the current lowest point of April. And yes, and if we do break this upside line, I will aim for the current lowest point of April first, and then we'll take it from there. USDJPY, also something that I'm keeping a close eye on today, because okay, we've cleared the upper side of the range that I kept on talking about. And also I said to you that, look, maybe it's a nice neckline for a double bottom pattern. You know, looks good. Seems to be quite interesting as well. And so far, so good. And look, for now, I want to continue to apply the technical analysis here. But I have to make way a little bit today for the news to come out first, and then the markets to adjust, and then we'll see what it can do here. So at this point, I would say we are trading above the upper side of the range of my range here. Maybe you have something else in there, but yes, and we're also currently getting a hold up near the EMA, so that's why I'm very, very careful, cautious. If we clear all that and we clear the 200-day EMA here, shown as the black line here, great. I'm going higher. But if we suddenly start falling back inside the range and we start falling below the 132.20 territory right here, let me get rid of this, this one right there, then yes, I will consider a move further south towards the lower side of my range here. USDCAD, of course, big day for, this pair. This is my second least favorite pair to trade after EURGBP, but I have to admit, it's like I don't like this pair, but I do like to look at it, and still it's quite interesting, quite fascinating. But again, it's a little bit of a a different one. And look, today we have U.S. data and Canadian data, so we could expect this one kind of going crazy a little bit, maybe being a little bit more on the choppy side, and that's why, for example, I have my downside scenario from around here, from around the 1.3415, and not only I need to see a break below that, I want to see the body of the daily candle staying below it. If it stays, great. This confirms the forthcoming lower low. This puts it below the 200-day EMA, and yes, we could continue with the trend, because the current trend is still to the downside, guys. Now, in case this pops above the 1.3537 territory right here, that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers, because again, this could open the door for a larger correction to the upside, and we would also be placed above the 100-day EMA, so keep that in mind. GBPUSD, so of course also keeping a close eye on today. Look, we're still, from the technical perspective, we're still trading above the upside line, so taken from the low of the 24th of March, so everything's still good. We are below the upper side of the range here, my previous range that I kept on talking about. So I need, and as I said before, I need to see a push through this barrier in order to go higher. Simple as that. If we do push through this 1.2444 zone, of course, yes, I'm keeping an eye on the current highest point of April near the 1.2525. But if that gets cleared, guess what? The forthcoming higher high is confirmed, and we could go higher a little bit, not much, but higher. For the downside, I need to see a break of this upside line here, and then yes, I'll consider a move towards the 50-day EMA. GBPNZD, look at this beautiful thing. Okay, look, and why I'm saying beautiful, because hey, you will think, but hey, Darius, you were talking about a rising wedge, which tends to break to the downside. But no, look, I said to you, it tends to break to the downside when it violates the lower side of the rising wedge, and this is what I'm saying, and what I was saying. Look, do not exclude the scenario to the upside. Until we're here, it still could go either way. It could ignore the whole rising wedge and could, do this, and it's exactly what it did. That's why my downside scenario is from around here, from around the break of this upside line. So it was very tempting to, knowing all that information, it was very tempting to go short here. And this is what I always say as well. You're not the only one who's seeing this, and the market sees that. So, the goal is to kind of take you out and, so that you would lose money. Unfortunately, that's the game plan of the market. And, it's like, that's why you need to be careful, cautious, and patient. The most important, patient. So, look, we broke the upper side of the rising wedge. Okay, now it's kind of leaning towards my other target, the downside line here, taken from the high of the 3rd of February of 2022. So far so good. As long as we stay above the upper side of the rising wedge, yes. I'm aiming for this downside line because the scenario, what I want to see, actually now, it's kind of interesting to me, and to see if it's going to work out or not. Can we reach this downside line? We're actually not far from it. In a way, we can. And if we, for example, reach this downside line, get a hold up here, and then let's say tomorrow and on Friday we start declining back below this upper side of the rising wedge, well, guess what? We'll have a nice false breakout on the weekly candle, and congratulations, maybe this could end up still being a nice rising wedge, but from the weekly chart perspective, not from the daily chart, but from the weekly chart. So again, we see this happening, guys. I mean, you always have to kind of keep that in mind. You have to, unfortunately, that's the game that we're playing here. So we need to keep in mind, be on track of everything here, and to see everything, all the combinations, all the patterns, all these possible scenarios, and this way how you can, this way you need to kind of position yourself correctly, and of course, most importantly, have your stop losses in place and only risk what you can afford to lose. If you're risking more, I would strongly suggest don't, guys. I mean, because only, like I said, risk what you can afford to lose. GBPCAD. So, of course, keeping an eye on the Canadian data today, and also the pair. Look, I'm liking this one because, again, we're still above the still above the upside support line, taken from the low of the 4th of November. We're still above all of the EMAs, great, on my daily chart here. And we're near this highlighted barrier, resistance barrier. Now, I need to see a clearance of that in order to go higher. If we don't get that, I'm not going higher. I'm still watching, I'm observing the price action in that case. Like I said, and also not only a false breakout, similar story as with Euro Aussie, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I need that confirmation, kind of, I need to see the body of the daily candle staying above this area, above this highlighted zone, and then I'll get a little bit more excited with higher levels. Then we could maybe target that 1.70 zone, or the 1.7132 marked by the inside swing low here of the 7th of February of 2022. But for now, yes, I'm watching this. It looks like a nice ascending triangle pattern. According to all the TA rules, such patterns tend to break to the upside. However, I have shown you in the past that it's not always the case. What we can also get is, let's say, something like a break of this upside line, a drift lower, creation of a false breakout, and then a reversal back to the upside. This is exactly what we saw in Euro Aussie when I was covering it. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. EURNOK, just a quick update. Again, I talked about this yesterday. Look, boom. Beautiful move, great clearance, this 11.48. We stayed above it, and now I'm going to continue targeting the upside. If we suddenly start falling back below this hurdle, I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand because my downside scenario, well, this is where I have drawn this one previously, but I think I already will start looking at some lower levels if we do fall below this little territory right here, below the 11.40 zone, and then I'll take it from there. But yeah, for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside as long as we stay above the upper side of this range. EURCHF, just a quick update. Look, I mean, I like to look at pairs which could present themselves with nice opportunities. And at this point, I'm really liking this one to the downside. However, it contradicts with something that I will mention in a bit. Look, I like this idea of maybe breaking, lower here, dropping below the 0.9848. This may attract a few more sellers into the game. My next target here, although my arrow is drawn all the way there, but my next target is the 0.98 zone. Look, why I said that it kind of contradicts with something in my head is that maybe this could be seen as a nice little kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern. Maybe. Again, it's not an ideal one, but look, left shoulder, right shoulder, the head here, the neckline. Well, I have this downside line here drawn from the high of the 13th of January, but I think it needs a little bit of adjustment because, again, it's a tentative downside line. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't mean that it's gonna, carry much significance. But let's say if something like this starts working out, now this is a little bit more attractive. Now let's say this little false breakout, okay, we can take that, but we have more touches here. So in a way, maybe this one could be actually a good one to watch. So this downside line. So look, if we start traveling back, let's say above this little territory, the 0.9891, I will consider a bit of a retracement here back to the upside towards the EMAs and maybe this downside line. But at this point, I'm observing the price action. I'm watching the 0.9848 zone. I want to see how this is going to play out. EURJPY, so just a quick update. I picked up on this one yesterday, if you remember. Look, I talked about this and I said that, hey, if we clear this territory, in a way, it's looking all positive, nice. But if we clear this territory here, this 145.5768, and we stay above it, then yes, I'm leaning more towards the upside. Ideally, my target is here, the 148.40, but initially I will be aiming for the 146.73 territory right here, marked by the highest point of December of 2022. Today we tried to climb there to that level. We didn't really reach it. I mean, and this is probably the moment where I'll say that I'm still targeting that. This is not enough for me. I'm still targeting. I need to see a little bit closer to that area, something a little bit closer to that area, and then yeah, I'll get a little bit more excited with with further advances maybe. But first, I want to see if we can reach this area, and then we'll take it from there. But as long as we stay above this highlighted zone, if we suddenly start falling back below it, it's no good for me, because then I'll start considering maybe the downside. But the downside could come on a break of this upside line, because then if we break the upside line, we could it could open the door towards the 50 and the 100-day EMAs here. And finally, EURUSD, guys. So, okay, look, rising veg. I talked about this yesterday, and so far, so good. It's respecting that. And one important thing is that we are near my target here, the 1.0930. I said to you about this yesterday that in order for me to go higher within the rising veg, I want to see a clear break above it, and I want to see the pair staying above this area. If we struggle, well, this is going to give me like an indication that maybe, some downside scenarios are possible here. But again, my downside scenario is in a break of this lower side of the rising veg. If we get a break below that, then yes, I will consider a move towards the 50-day EMA. And I cannot stress this enough, guys. Keep your eyes today on the CPIs and the US CPIs and the BoC interest rate decision, depending on what you're trading. But yeah, that could be quite interesting. And don't rush into anything, guys. Just wait for the reaction and then do something about it. But even if you're not comfortable to do something about it, you're not obliged. Honestly, wait for it. Wait for the market to settle. If you believe that you will miss out on an opportunity, no, believe me, you don't. There are opportunities all the time there. You just have to search for those. And yeah, sometimes actually it's better to maybe trade the calm market rather than the more volatile. But again, it's up to you, up to your strategy. I'm just here to kind of show you what I think, but you have your own head on your shoulders, guys, and you know what to do better, what's good for you, what's better for you. So just kind of go from what you know and go from what you feel like, or there's reasoning logic behind it, because then at least you can always justify your trade. And of course, like I said, don't risk something that you cannot afford to lose. and have your stop losses in place, guys. Look, I'll have to wrap it up here, guys. I think I'm a little bit over my time, but thank you very much. I really, really appreciate your views, your likes, your comments, guys, everything. So really, really thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who's joining in, who's watching this as a recorded session. Thank you very much for that as well, guys. Honestly, I hope you'll have a fantastic trading day. Just like I said, don't try to remove the emotions out of everything, and you'll be fine. So if it's not going, if it's not working well, leave it. There's always next time. Honestly, there's plenty of opportunities, and yeah, just kind of position yourselves carefully, guys. So thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow is the last video for this week. And the last video for this week, and yes, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday we won't have any videos, so we'll resume. Well, tomorrow, join me tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We'll have a recap and see how the market reacted. Like I said, 6 o'clock GMT time. Join me tomorrow. But if you're not going to join me tomorrow, then like I said, we'll resume on Wednesday. So yeah, guys. Oh, Noble Amir Ali. I'm a jewel. Thank you very much. Honestly, thank you very much for the kind words. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So yeah, have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye. Hey there, thank you very much for watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. So, like this video, we speculate your next mouse movement will be towards the subscribe button.